As always, let me know where you're from. If we have any questions as I go through today's lesson, let me know. I will keep my eye on the chat, and we'll just give YouTube a moment to start up. I think we should be ready, though. Almost. All right, if you can see this, post in the chat. Make sure we're working. Almost. Okay, I think we are. I am Drew Badger, the founder of EnglishAnyone.com and the English Fluency Guide. Welcome to another live video. I just had this is kind of an impromptu video. I thought I would make this or cover this topic because I think to myself all the time. And there's certain phrases or expressions that I use talking to myself. And natives will use these, but you can also use these same phrases when you're speaking with other people. So they're interesting ways to think about situations, and they will give you a little bit of insight into how natives are thinking. So you can use these same phrases as well. So part of the practice we get when we hear different phrases, so natives will often hear things in a particular situation in the same way that they might, like you get hurt and you say, ouch. So there are certain triggers we get that encourage us or make us want to say certain things. So I thought I would talk about some of the things I say to myself, just sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously, but you can continue to use those, again, in your everyday communication. All right, so it looks like YouTube is working. Let's get started. All right, see if we have anybody here. Let's see. Anna, nice to see you there. Hello. Silvana, nice to see you. Thank you for the class. My pleasure. And RSM Eraser, hey, good morning. Oh, from Morocco. George Chan, nice to see you there. Let me know if that's Chan or Chan. And H. Ray from Osaka, and Etam from Herman in Congo. Look at that. We got people all over the place. Smart Tech, good morning. All right, let's get right into this. So basically, this is going to be a vocabulary lesson, and I'll teach you about the same kinds of things that I'm thinking when I'm in even just kind of talking to myself, as people will normally be doing. So you can use these same things when you're speaking to yourself, and you can use these expressions and think to yourself in English rather than your native language. All right, so the first one is, let's see what I want to cover first. So curiosity and speculation. All right, so these are some very simple things. Like I often have a lot of ideas about things, and so the most basic thing I will often say to myself is, what if? What if? And so I will just be thinking, even if I don't say this out loud, I will be thinking to myself, what if? So what if I do something? Okay, so maybe I'm trying to build a project, or I'm thinking about what if maybe I'm reorganizing my room or my office or something like that, and I say, oh, what if I put the chair over here or the desk over here? Or what if I get a hammock? What if I do this? What if I do that? This is the most basic form. And again, you can use this in regular communication. So if you're giving advice to someone else, maybe you're recommending something or you're giving a suggestion, you can just say, well, what if you do this? Okay, so what if he does something, or what if she does something, or what if they do something? But very simple, but it's asking, and more about kind of curiosity and maybe questioning, wondering. So a similar thing I might say to myself is, I wonder if. I'm always trying to make sure this is nice and simple for people. So what if, very easy thing to remember. It's just talking about possibility. And another thing you might say here is, I wonder, or I wonder if something. So I wonder if a friend of mine is coming to town today. Or I wonder if it will rain. I wonder if, or what if something. These are kind of similar questions. You can use them basically in the same situation, talking about possibility. But typically, maybe a slight difference is like, what if? It's kind of imagining things that may be like almost a wider range of possibility. So if I'm thinking like, I wonder if it will rain tonight, or I wonder if it will rain today, this is more thinking like either it will or it will not. It's not like a wide range of possibility. But you could use those in a similar way, like I wonder if I could do something. So like, is it possible or might it happen? But what if is really thinking about a broader, wider range of possibility. All right, so similar situation, and you could use those. You will hear natives using both of these in these kinds of situations. So talking about what if, or I wonder if, or possibly, potentially, something like that. Another way I might say this is suppose. Suppose. This is another, it seems like a more advanced word, but it's actually very commonly used. So suppose I do something. Suppose I do something. So this is basically like if I do something. So if I were to do something, what would happen? All right. So suppose I buy a houseboat. All right. So we're going to create this condition or this idea, or we call this, another way you could express this is like a thought experiment. So a thought experiment, you're just thinking of something in your mind and you're wondering, wouldn't that be interesting? I wonder what would happen. So what if, often these are thought experiments. So you're imagining something, you're guessing, you're thinking maybe something could happen. What if? What would that be like? All right. So another thing to see, the reason I'm giving you various examples is because there are always different ways to express something. So even if I forget one thing, or I might not say the same thing all the time, I have many different ways I could express this. Excuse me. And I'm also prepared for when other people use these things. Okay, so someone else might say, what if, or I wonder, or suppose I, or suppose they, suppose I. And these are all, in a simple way, basically talking about thought experiments, all right? So typically when people actually use the term thought experiment, it's like a bigger idea. Maybe they're thinking about a business, or they're just having an interesting conversation about, what if people walked on their hands instead of their feet? So this is like a thought experiment. Then you begin with that idea or that premise. So the idea, what are we talking about? Here's the condition. So what if everyone walked on their hands instead of their feet? So we begin with that idea, that premise, that thought, and now we have a thought experiment, just thinking about what might happen. Okay, so if everybody has to walk on their hands, maybe everybody buys gloves at the glove store instead of the shoe store. Maybe you don't need shoes anymore, I guess. I don't know. All right, so that's a kind of a thought experiment. I'm being a little bit silly right now, but I'm trying to give many examples of how these things work, and they really are very commonly used. So suppose I do something. So suppose I get a new job. All right, so I'm talking maybe with my wife, and we're thinking what might happen, like what if, or what happens, or what changes. Suppose I get a new job. Suppose I get a new job. Suppose I get into an accident. What would happen to my family? All right, so again, these are all just thinking about here's a condition or a state or some situation that might happen, and we're just thinking what's the conclusion of that or what might occur as a result. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So these are lots of interesting ways where I might be thinking, and even if I'm not speaking with anyone else, I'm still talking to myself, or I'm speaking to myself in my mind. All right, and so these are things you can do as when people often ask me about how to think in English. The point really for fluency is not really to think in English, it's more to eliminate doubt and then to not need to think about anything at all. The ideas just come to you because you understand them naturally and you know how to make these connections. And a way to do that is actually learning many different ways to express yourself, like I'm showing you here. But when you're talking with yourself, that is a good way just to get into the habit of using these different things, and you can obviously try different ones when you're in that situation. So if you are talking with yourself, talking to yourself, this is also known as self-talk. So what do you say when you talk to yourself? So self-talk. So when I was thinking, this morning, like maybe I should get a goldfish. What if I got a goldfish? So what if I got, or Or what if I did something? What if I got a goldfish? Okay? So maybe I should get a goldfish. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. All right, let me go back and check chat to see if anybody has any questions about this. It's a pretty simple idea, but the point is these are the things that will naturally pop into my mind during the day, and it's just a situation will trigger this vocabulary. So I might be thinking about something, or I notice something and I think, oh, what if I do that? What if? Okay? And as you understand the vocabulary, you also hear the pronunciation. So even something very simple like this, you will sound much more native if you blend it together. So this is the one rule for pronunciation that I teach in Speak Like Me. So this is basically, instead of what if, it really blends together. So the T basically disappears, and this becomes a D sound here. So what if, what if, what if, what if. So what if nobody comes to pick me up today? What if I have to work underwater? What if I have to walk on my hands instead of my feet? Okay, these are all ways of talking about the same thing, but notice the pronunciation here. What if, what if, what if, what if. All right, let's see here. I'll go back and check chat before we cover a few more things here. Meditation channel says, hello, sir, and it's my first time to attend your class. Welcome. Sarah just says, hello, teacher from Mexico. Olympia with a big heart. Nice to see you there. Rogerio says, hello. I'm Korean. I'll try my best today. It's all right. You always try your best. Let's see. Sophia, good morning from Malaysia. Nice to see you there. And let's see, Connect Africa. Okay, that's what that is. Hi, teacher. And Nelson says, hello, good evening from Colombia. Yamara, good evening from Thailand. Look at it, it's like one person from every country. It's like the Olympics. Representing of the English Learning Olympics over here. Messias from Brazil. Nina says hello from Morocco. Salah says, I wonder if my girlfriend still loves me. Yes, here, very good question. You should say, I wonder if my girlfriend still loves me. I wonder if my girlfriend still loves me. That might be a typo, but remember, take care with your subject-verb agreement. So I wonder if my girlfriend still loves me. Tarek says, good morning, teacher. H-Ray, I wonder if cats have a sense of curiosity. I bet they do. I bet cats have a sense of curiosity. They're always getting into trouble. That's why in English, if you don't know this expression already, we say curiosity killed the cat. Curiosity killed the cat. Curiosity killed the cat. So this just means, people trying to see about things or getting into trouble, learning about something. Often you can get in trouble doing that. But we also have an expression in English that cats have 9 lives. Cats have 9 lives. And this means cats will often, maybe they fall from a really high building, but they're just fine. So it looks like they get into lots of trouble, but they never seem to die. So cats have 9 lives. Keiko says, hello, teacher. Is today a grammar lesson? Well, it's not, not particularly a grammar lesson specifically, but when I'm teaching vocabulary or grammar or pronunciation or whatever, when I'm doing this for my children and just teaching them things normally, I never say to them, okay, guys, we're going to learn a grammar point right now. What I'm doing is trying to help them understand the language, and you always have grammar or vocabulary or pronunciation. All of these things are connected. So you can't say anything without pronunciation. So like the way I say something, either I'm pronouncing it correctly or incorrectly, but the grammar, the way I speak things, so all these things are connected. So don't try not to worry about like what the specific topic, like for the language name of that thing, like if it's a grammar point or whatever. The idea, if you want to speak fluently, is do I know the right thing to say, or one of the things I might say for a particular situation? So that's what we're doing here, and just saying in this situation, if I'm wondering about something or thinking about the possibility of something, or I'm curious about something, these are the kinds of things I might say. And I might say these to myself, I might be thinking to myself, or I could also say them to other people. All right, so you'll notice grammar is in here as well, and pronunciation and vocabulary. All right. Let's see here. Back to the English Learning Olympics. Let's see. Oh, did I miss somebody? Okay, maybe wait a minute. Okay, connect again. I wonder if you could give me a special way to learn English accent and English as a whole from scratch. I would just download Frederick. That's exactly what Frederick is. So if you click on the link in the description below this video, that's what that is. So if you want to, let's say you're trying to teach, like if I wanted to teach a whole bunch of people in Africa, for example, or anywhere in the world, I would just give them the app and let them teach themselves the language. So if you want to learn the language from scratch, that's what the app does. So it'll teach you vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, all of that, but it will do it naturally from zero. And then if you want to also see video, so you can hear more and see more examples of things, watch the best beginning English grammar playlist on our channel. And it takes you through a lot of the beginning English grammar, like a lot of people have trouble with prepositions or articles or other things like that, and I show you how to understand those things like a native. All right, Augusto says, probably nice. I'm guessing, nice to be here, maybe. Tarek says, do we use would then in the rest of the sentence when using the thought experimenting expressions? Not necessarily. So I wonder if it will rain tomorrow. All right, so I wonder if I wonder if there will be rain, as an example. So we're not using would in that situation. So, but you could say like a simple way to use would in this situation is like what would happen? Or if you're not so sure, you might say what might happen. What might happen? So what would happen, or if you're asking another person, like, what would you do if something happens? All right? So if you're asking a question, what would you do? So what would you do? What would you do if something happens? So what would you do if a robber or a burglar gets into your house? What would you do? All right? But you can also just talk about this in general from just describing yourself. You could say, if something I would, so if a burglar got into my house, I would do whatever, I would do something, okay? So it doesn't necessarily, you don't have to use would, but you could use it in there, all right? So again, if you're ever in a situation and you're thinking like, oh no, I have to use would because would describes the future, that's not how natives think about the language. Remember, natives have a particular situation or a thing they're trying to explain or describe or communicate, and there are many ways you could do that. And this is why natives don't get stuck in conversations, because they're not just thinking about one way to say something, they have many different ways to say something. And so at each moment, there are always more options they have, all right? So don't think about like a particular word that you have to say. This is just one of many things you could use. But if someone could make a thing where I could jump back to the comment I'm on, that would be awesome. All right, I think more, let's see. Okay, Tom, nice to see you there. Morning, teacher Drew Salas says, the cats are curious if it is raining cats and dogs. Yes, you would say raining cats and dogs. Raining cats and dogs. Casse says, you are the most amazing teacher I have faced so far. Well, welcome. Welcome to the English Olympics here, where we have people from all over the world. Here, just an interesting point about language right here. So you say you are the most amazing teacher I have faced. Typically when we use the word face, we're talking about like a competitor or an enemy or something like there's a conflict here. So you might face a problem, but I don't like face a friend of mine. So you could say you are the most amazing teacher, or you are the best or whatever person I have ever encountered or experienced or just met or seen. All right, so you are the best I've ever seen or met or whatever you want to say. racing. But faced is, again, typically when there's some sort of competition or a fight, like in the Olympics, for example. So you might, like, one person from Germany faces someone from Greece, all right? So they're facing each other like this, and it's a lot more like a conflict rather than like a positive thing, you might say. So I understand what you're trying to say, but I recommend you use a different word for that. All right. And Olympia says, as I do. Let's see. I don't know what that's referring to. Olympia says, let's see. And then Tom again with some typical Japanese. It says, I like you because you don't have an accent. Well, I mean, everybody has some kind of accent, but I'm intentionally being clear so people can understand what I'm saying. I'm not trying to speak with a particular accent. It's really just I guess you could say, a neutral way of speaking, so people can understand me. And really, the point of these videos, number one, is to help you learn some useful vocabulary, and then mostly to teach you how to get fluent. All right, so then you can apply those rules. You can apply what I learn in your speaking and learning to become fluent faster. Let's see. Augusta says, oh, years I am talking to myself that it is wonderful to be here. Glad to hear it. Or you would say, like, I am saying to myself, or I often say to myself. Sella says, it is very clear. Thank you. Glad to hear it. Baracco says, hi from KS. I don't know where that is. I wonder myself, what could be better opportunity than this class? Or you could say, yes, I wonder what could be a better opportunity than this class. Meditation again, from a teacher, your techniques are way practical and not conventional at all. My greetings, sir. I basically teach people English the way I teach my own children English. So when I'm trying to, the point in general is to eliminate doubt. And so if I explain a bunch of difficult grammar rules, that's probably going to cause you more doubt. Which is why a lot of people struggle to speak, even though they spend a lot of time learning. So if you can understand things and eliminate the doubt that stops you from speaking, then you will communicate fluently. So that's what I try to do. Let's see, and Debang Shu says, from India. Let's see, Sal says, LOL. I'm guessing, I don't know what that's referring to, but something is funny. Hey, Keiko, nice to see you here. Alexi says, hello, Drew from Miami. Nice to see you there. What does curious mean? Well, that's a good question. You should look that up. You can learn about curiosity if you look that up. I'll leave the answer for Google for that one, just because it will teach you the lesson better. And Tom says, teacher, how can I avoid thinking in French in order to think directly in English? You should spend more time consuming material in English that helps you understand ways of thinking and speaking in English. So often if you're learning English through French, then you would be speaking and thinking in French, or at least trying to think about words and organize sentences before you speak. So the more you learn in English and understand things in English, the less you would need French. But this is like we're doing in this video and the other videos I make. I'm giving you examples of how to do that. And Shabnam says, hi. Mariana says, hello from Athens. There you go. Look at that. We even have someone from Greece here. There you go. Carlos says, how often do you do lives? It could be maybe like once or twice a week. They are unscheduled, but often they are on Mondays and Thursdays, Japan time. Let's see. Raul says, think about positive things. Yes, it's always nice to think about positive things. Pato says, hi, Drew. Good evening. Is ChatGPT a good source for correcting small doubts one might have? Not translating, but correcting an expression or phrase, for example. If not, what do you recommend? Yes, ChatGPT can be good, but I always, just like the way I teach and help people or remind people that the best way to get fluent is to see many examples from many different people. So if I learn a phrase and I know that ChatGPT is sometimes incorrect, I should probably get a few different sources just to check if something is correct or not. So I might, if I'm trying to learn a grammar point or there's an expression I'm learning, I might go to ChatGPT and say, hey, like, how would you explain this? Or can you teach me this thing? But then I might also go to Google or YouTube to also get additional confirmation about that thing. So once you know what you're learning, I should make a video about this, about how to correct your mistakes before you make them. But the goal is to understand the vocabulary really well by getting exposure to lots of different sources. So ChatGPT can be very helpful, but it can sometimes make mistakes. And I've had that experience many times with ChatGPT. So if I'm working with ChatGPT in English, it's easier. If I notice it makes a mistake about something, I can catch that. But if I'm trying to learn something in Japanese from ChatGPT, it would be more difficult. So it says, first time I am going to subscribe in your channel. Glad to hear it. You would say subscribe to your channel. All right. Let's see. Keiko says, I jumped to conclusions. I'm sorry about that. Let's see. I wonder, what if I don't make it? Yeah. So you can just say, what if I don't make it? What if I don't make it? Or I wonder. I wonder. I wonder. Even just saying I wonder by itself is perfectly fine. Like, a native might say that out loud or think that to themselves, like, I wonder. And they're just thinking, like, what if something happens? Guys, I like your video, said to avoid the doubt that makes me start the journey to be fluent. Yes. So if you're thinking about what to learn, it's really, what questions do I have that are stopping me from speaking? And it's usually questions about particular verbs or phrases or pronunciation or something like that. So if there's a word and I don't know how to pronounce it, so I wouldn't want to say that word in a conversation because I don't want to make a mistake in front of other people, then the thing I should do is solve that pronunciation doubt. All right, so it's like a very specific thing that I have to do. So you don't just continue learning lots of random English. You are strategic about how you learn, and you are basically destroying the various doubts that stop you speaking. Because the fastest way to get fluent is to destroy the doubts that stop you from speaking. All right, Alexander says, is it going to rain tomorrow? Oh, no, I had to go out tomorrow, or you could say I have to go out tomorrow to do some errands, and I don't have an umbrella. Very good. So remember, if we're talking about the future, I have to do something. All right, regards from Mexicali MX from Mexico. Nice to see you there. And Elder says, what's going on, Drew? Just in time. When you start to talk about cat and curiosity from tip of my tongue, the cat and her 9 lives. Yes, so we just covered those various expressions. So you would say, like, on the tip of my tongue, like the cat and her 9 lives, or the cat has 9 lives. And Moy's laughing about something over there. Alexander, like a confrontation, is your teacher not your opponent? Come on. Yeah, so you guys are getting it. So remember, this is the whole point of learning. So you might say something, and the point is understood. So I understand if someone says, wow, you were like the coolest person I've ever faced. So I would think, okay, like, are we going to fight now? Like, maybe you respect me as an opponent, but we're still going to fight about something. So I'm facing you. You think like your face and my face like this, but I could just see someone and think, wow, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen or experienced or encountered. There are many ways you could express that, but typically face is when we're talking about a problem or a person or an enemy or a challenge, something like that. So you're ready when you face something. You're ready to challenge that thing, to face that thing. So don't feel bad about making a mistake. This is often how we learn. And so we use something, maybe we use it incorrectly, but then we get the correction for that thing, and then we understand how to use it correctly. So often that's how it works. Now, it's nice if you can correct your issues and learn the proper thing to say before you make the mistake. That's what we do in Fluent for Life. We try to help people not make those mistakes because you're actually getting the practice you need before you speak. All right, let's see. Sal says, you are, or you're awesome teacher. You would say you're an awesome teacher, so you are the most amazing teacher I have met so far. Very good. Yes, that would be a good way to say it. Moy says, you are the most amazing I have come across on YouTube. Is that okay? Yes, you could say that. Very good. So Meg says, hi, teacher. Good morning from Brazil. Min says, how to practice final sound in English. Please practice final sound in English. What do you mean by that? If you're talking about pronunciation, get Frederick. Just click on the link in the description below this video to get the app, and it will show you everything about pronunciation and teach you not only the pronunciations of over 2,000 words, but plenty of sentences as well. So you can see how everything fits together. Richard, again, I can speak English at a basic level. However, I still want to go further. Well, welcome to the English Olympics here. And Sal's again, Brazil. Bruno, how important is pronunciation? Should I focus more on pronunciation drills? No, basically for learning pronunciation, there are two things. The first one, as I mentioned with learning Frederick, is learning the individual sounds of English. So these are known as phonics. So these are the sound rules for pronunciation, and about 84% of the language has specific rules for pronunciation. So as an example, well, we can just look at some of these words right here. So TH, this is a digraph. It has a particular sound like in this word. And then aw is a particular sound like aw. So we have the pronunciation of aw, t, thought. So this is how we learn. So young children are learning pronunciation, and they learn these English pronunciation rules called phonics. Phonics. Now, phonics, there are, as I mentioned, about 84% of the language gives you the sound rules, but for the rest of that, you just have to remember what the sound is. So as an example, a word like the, we don't pronounce it as two different sounds, like th, we say the. So it's pronounced as one sentence, or excuse me, just like one unit, one sound like that, the. But most of so this kind of breaks a phonetic rule or a sound phonics rule. But often when you're learning these things, there are many, as you understand these rules, you also come to understand these sounds that break those rules. So Frederick teaches you both of those. We teach you we teach you phonics, but we also teach you the sounds that break those rules too. And like the is such a commonly used word, you should know how to pronounce it. And you also should know how to pronounce it in different situations. As an example, a movie like The Planet of the Apes. So it's the same word, but we might pronounce it a little bit differently depending on which word we put that in front of. So the planet of the apes, the. All right. So you'll notice more things like that as you get examples. And so that's the second part of learning pronunciation. So the first part is learning the individual sound rules, and the second part is just getting lots of examples of native speaking so you can hear different ways that people pronounce things. So you will often find like lots of people will say the planet of the apes, the planet of the apes, or some people might say the planet of the apes and pronounce it, put a little bit more emphasis on it. And so as you're learning things, this is not just for pronunciation, but you get to see a wide range of examples, not just one teacher like me telling you how to pronounce something exactly. It's much better, and you will become much more confident as you see each individual person say a word or phrase, and you will feel, okay, like I get a good idea. I'm pretty confident that I should say it this way because 10 different people just said that expression like that. All right, so those are the two things you need. If you want to have good pronunciation, you should understand the individual sounds, but then also hear lots of different examples of natives pronouncing these things. So that's why we produce courses that help you do both of those. So Frederick covers the individual words and sounds like this, and Fluent for Life shows you how to put everything together. Let's see. Augusto said, really, you are a good teacher. I am proud to be here. Well, welcome. There's a lot of praise in the comment section today. I'm happy. I don't know why. Lots of, I guess people are practicing using those expressions. Juan says, greetings from Bogota, Colombia. I remember I was in Bogota. When was that? It was maybe like 9 years ago, something like that. That was a fun time, though. I remember I had trouble breathing a little bit. It was hard to get used to. Atamani says, I am from Senegal, West Africa. It's not easy for me to watch the live at this time. See you tomorrow. Well, watch the videos anytime you like. Keiko says, by the way, I jumped to conclusion and I'm getting ahead of myself, which is natural. Well, if you're jumping to a conclusion, you're kind of thinking like what's the result of something, but to get ahead of yourself is more like maybe I'm thinking about what are some possibilities, or they could be related but not necessarily, so you don't have to think about it that way. Let me think about a good way to explain it. So if I'm like, a friend of mine is let's say she's worried about her husband. Like she says, oh, my husband is coming home late recently, and she jumps to the conclusion that he's cheating on her. So like that's not like a logical conclusion. Like if I could describe it for you here. See if black. Oh, black is faded too. Okay, let me switch back to red. So something happens, or like, you know, whatever that thing is. So my friend's husband is coming home late. All right, so that's the situation. And then the wife jumps to the conclusion of like, like conclusion one is he's cheating on me. He's cheating on me. So she's gonna just jump to that conclusion. So here I'm just very quickly assuming something because of that. And I say, wait. Maybe there's also like, you know, two, like he's just working late. Maybe he's busy at work. Why don't you call him and find out? Okay. So there are actually, you know, various reasons why something might be happening. But if you jump to a conclusion, you're thinking, like I'm going to assume one of these things is true, even if I don't have lots of evidence for that thing. So that's jumping to a conclusion. But getting ahead of myself like is a slightly different situation, and that's more if I'm thinking about something and maybe I'm like let's say I want to go to college. All right. So in that situation, here's like situation A over here is I want to go to college, but then I'm also having to think about, well, what happens after I graduate? And then like maybe I have to move to a different city, and then maybe like what if I don't know, get into a car accident or something like that. Like, hey, like I'm already out here. I'm still over here. I didn't even go to college yet. So I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm thinking like way into the future about something that I couldn't really know. So I'm getting ahead of where I am now. So I'm getting ahead of myself. All right. So here I am. I'm thinking, well, maybe I should go to college. But if I do that, maybe I have this thing, and maybe it leads to these other things that might happen. But wait a minute. And so I'm just talking with my dad right now. Should I go to college? And he says, oh, well, you know, what do you want to do? Do you want to go to, I don't know, like go to business school, or do you need to become a doctor? What do you want to do? And then I start talking about all these other things over here. He's saying, whoa, you're getting ahead of yourself. Slow down, focus on this particular thing, because you don't really know all of this other stuff that's going to happen anyway. Okay, so this is to get ahead of yourself. If you can read that, get ahead of yourself. But this one over here is to jump to some conclusion, or jump to a conclusion. So you could be jumping to conclusions. There could be multiple. Oh no, he's cheating on me. You know, like if I'm in a movie, oh no, my husband is late. I jump to the conclusion that he's cheating on me. So I didn't like reasonably think about it or get lots of, you know, interesting information about that. It's just whoop, I jumped to the conclusion that he's cheating on me. Okay, does that make sense? So like you can see how these two things are related, but I wouldn't say to this woman like, oh, my husband's cheating on me. Hey, you're getting ahead of yourself. I wouldn't say that to her, because she's not like logically thinking through a bunch of steps here. This is more I just jumped directly to the conclusion here. So I'm jumping from A, he's working late, to B, which is he's cheating on me. All right, so I'm jumping to conclusions. All right. So in the college example, if I wanted to say jump to conclusions, that would be more like maybe this school is lower price, so it's a worse school. And I would say, no, I don't jump to that conclusion. Like, so you're making a connection between one thing and something else, which may not be true. Okay, so it might be true, but maybe not. So maybe we need some more information to understand something that's happening. All right. Now it's interesting, this phrase "jump to conclusions" or "jump to the wrong conclusion." This is often how people are, like, the mind is working that way when people learn vocabulary. So when people are learning language, when they first learn something, they jump to the conclusion of what it means. But often as they get more examples, they understand that that word really means something else, or they have a stronger definition of that. So try to control yourself from jumping to conclusions and spend more time getting more information so you don't, or to make sure you don't jump to conclusions. All right, let me know if that explanation makes sense. So you can see they're similar, but typically getting ahead of yourself means you're walking forward and you're continuing to ask more questions or going through more steps rather than just whoop, like one big step going up to here that probably is incorrect. All right, so these things over here, if I'm thinking about many different steps, that might be true, but maybe not. All right. Either way, like whoa, like don't jump to conclusions. Like don't just say like it's over here, and often it's a bad conclusion or a wrong conclusion. But it's slightly different situation. It's related. We're talking about something in the future, but it's the actual specific situation is a little bit different. All right. Let me know if that makes sense. And let's see, who else did we get here? And okay, Baracko says my AI Snapchat is better than ChatGPT. Well, my AI is better than your AI. What do you think about that? Well, very interesting. Min says, when speaking, I often forget final sound in English. How to fix this? Yes, okay. Just get Frederick. It'll show you how to do that. Julian says, hi, teacher, and people here. Greetings from Manizales, Colombia. Okay, I wonder, I've got it. Okay. Let me know if that explanation helped you. Elizabeth, nice to see you there from Brazil. And Tukudzawa from South Africa. Look at that. People all over the place. From Afghanistan. It's like Ali. She means fluently, I'm guessing. Let's see. Wool. Good morning from China. That's an interesting name. You found the name Wool. Wow, that's like the most simple. That's a great name. Just like wool. That's awesome. Let's see. Hosam says, thanks, teacher, from Morocco. Naomi, I'm guessing, or maybe Naomi from Brazil. And Tom says, teacher, if I understand everything that you are saying right now, what English level am I? I can't tell what English level you are based on your level of understanding because these are different skills. So you can understand things very well, but still be a really bad speaker. So the only way you can tell that is yourself. Do you feel doubt when you speak or do you not? If you do not feel doubt when you speak, then you're probably a fluent speaker. But if you do, then you're probably not. Again, sir, I'm asking for your WhatsApp number. I want to take my English lessons. Well, you don't need my WhatsApp number. You can just watch videos right here on YouTube. The toy says, greetings from Brazil. Hello, Drew. And again, how much do you charge me? Panel to beat my English to be fluent. I don't know what exactly you're saying, but if you'd like to learn more about courses and what we offer, you can click on the links in the description below. Hussein says, why do you live in, or why are you? You would say, why do you live in Japan, or why are you living in Japan? I came here originally to study Japanese gardening, and I don't do anything with that now, unfortunately, but I would like to. I enjoy teaching and spend all my time doing that. Let's see. Augusto says, A of Augusto, nice. And Zainab says, thank you for your help from Somalia. Good basic techniques here. I learned a lot of tricks and tips, rules to improve my English. Makes me sense your method of teaching. Glad to hear. Alexander, jumping to conclusions would be like an irrational way of getting ahead of yourself, maybe. Yeah, I mean, yes, like you can see how they're connected, and basically, I'm kind of jumping to particular conclusions about this. But the idea of getting ahead of yourself usually means you're thinking about multiple steps, and that's the kind of bigger picture difference about these things. So I could even be getting ahead of myself if someone is explaining something to me and I'm thinking like, oh, we got this, and then we can do this thing and that thing, but other people maybe they don't understand it yet. I would say, whoa, like you're correct, but you're getting ahead of the class, or you're getting ahead of yourself. Just wait, let me make sure I explain everything. So it's not necessarily an irrational thing in that situation, or it's not even incorrect. It's just wait and just take your time, and hopefully you understand that thing better by spending a little bit more time listening or thinking about that. All right, Brago says, you're so patient. Well, I try. Let's see, you always jump to conclusions of judging me. Yes, so that you could use it that way. And Marceliana says, hello, I'm from Brazil. I'm intermediate, not advanced. I understand so much, but sometimes I can't speak fluently. Yes, it's probably because you have some kind of doubt about whatever pronunciation or vocabulary or something like that. Yes, its truth is better than AI. Thank you, sir. I get my answer. Let's see. Aich says, good morning from Morocco. Gotcha. I appreciate it. All right. Let's very quickly cover some other things. I'm already gone for about 45 minutes or about 45 minutes. So just some other things I say to myself. But look at that. You're getting an extra vocabulary lesson today. Lots of good, useful expressions here. I like that, the jump to conclusions versus what was that? Getting ahead of yourself. It's always interesting things here, and there are always more questions to ask. Let's see. This is another interesting situation, and so this is talking about like motivation, and if I try to do something, like especially with working out. So if I'm exercising or I'm trying to read or study and I want to push myself just a little bit, here are some phrases I might use in that situation. So let's say I'm running, so I'm out doing a run, and I'm almost finished, but I think, well, I might, let me find a better way to hold this. I might as well, and then I might as well continue, or I might as well do one more lap or run around one more time, okay? Another way to say this is, I'm already, I've got this like super thick marker, so it's harder to draw, but this is the I guess the best marker to use. Have to use the edge of the marker, the thin edge. So I'm already here. So if I'm exercising and I've already done, I don't know, 10 push-ups or something, well, I might as well do one more. All right, so I'm already here, so I should just try one more, add an additional one to that. Okay, so when I'm talking to myself, I'm trying to encourage or motivate myself. It's like, well, you already did this. You're studying a little bit. You know, try to spend 5 more minutes. You can't spend 5 more minutes, spend 5 more minutes reviewing something. All right. So if you've watched a few videos about something, you're trying to learn how to do something and you don't quite get it, don't stop. Spend that extra time. You're already doing it, so I might as well. I should just continue. All right. I should just keep going. All right. Now, this is an interesting thing because it's also using I'm explaining it as a positive situation, but you could use it as a negative situation as well. So maybe like, I lost my job today, so I might as well eat a bunch of ice cream or something. Like I want to make myself feel better, or I don't know, it's raining today, so I might as well sleep a little bit longer instead of waking up and exercising or doing something like that. All right. So these are the thoughts that go through your head, but obviously you can use these in conversations as well. So like if I'm recommending someone else do something, like you're already here, you might as well continue. So it's a good idea, or you should do something. All right. So I'm already here. You might as well continue to do something. But again, we hear how this blends together. I might as well. So that T here becomes more of a D sound. I might as well. I might as well. So I might as well keep going. Like I should, it's a good idea if I do that thing. And so I'm encouraging you also, try not to think about the individual words and logically try to figure it out. First, just try to understand the whole phrase as a unit and think about when people say that. So like, I might as well keep going. So I've already been running for 5 minutes. I still have a bit of energy left. I might as well do something. I might as well continue doing that thing. And then like later, if you want, you can go back and try to figure out why the words are organized the way they do. But often natives aren't thinking about the vocabulary that way. We just have a particular unit. It's like a communication pattern, and natives just understand these because they've heard them so many times. All right, so I might as well continue to do something. All right, I might as well. All right, last thing here. This is another very common situation. cover this very quickly. Also, you can find these examples. I've given you some example sentences. If you look in the description below this video, you will find those as well. Very simple thing, I bet. So we talked at the beginning of this video about possibilities, and I wanted to give you one more example of something where you're wondering, like I wonder if something might work, but I bet. So this is another way of saying I guess, or what if, like we talked about at the beginning of this video. But I bet is a really common, very short, very easy thing to remember, just like you're placing a bet if you're playing poker or blackjack or gambling or something like that. You're guessing, you're betting that something might happen. So there's a probability that something might happen. I bet something will work, all right? So if I'm thinking about a situation like maybe something will happen, I'm looking at the clouds and I think, I bet it will rain today. I bet there will be rain. I bet it's going to be a rainy day. You notice I'm giving you different examples of how you might say that because there's not just one way to say that. So I bet it's gonna rain. I bet we'll have rain today. I'll bet it's going to be a rainy day. Okay? So I bet something. Or I bet my friend is going to be late because he's always or often late. I bet he's going to be late, all right? So instead of, if you're looking for a very simple way, either you're thinking about this or you're speaking with someone else, you're talking about a guess or a probability, you're saying there's a good chance that something will happen, I bet, all right? So I bet something happens, all right? So I bet it will rain. I bet my friend will be late. I bet, I don't know, I bet like these, two people are having a fight or something like that. I say, I bet there's going to be trouble. I bet, and there's going to be trouble. So I think, or I believe, or I'm guessing, that's the kind of thing you would say. But it's so short, so easy, and very commonly used because of that, all right? So I bet. So I bet you can remember this expression. I bet you can. I bet you can do it. I often use this with my kids when they're saying, well, I don't know if I can do that. I can't do that. I say, I bet you can. I bet you can. There's a good chance you can do it. I bet. All right. Very common expression, very useful. All right, let me check the last comments over here and make sure everybody understands. But I bet you guys got it over here. All right, Alexander says, gotcha, I appreciate it. And Aicha from Morocco again. Thank you, sir. Oh, I think I got that one already. All right, Morocco says, I am. And Keiko says, I took day off even though we haven't set the travel dates yet. I took day off. I guess I got ahead of myself. Yes, you could use it in that way too. But you could say like I took days off even though we haven't set the travel dates, or we haven't set the travel dates yet. You could say both of those. So I guess I got ahead of myself. Yes. So again, you're doing something before maybe you should. So maybe it actually is a good idea, and it makes sense to do something like that. Like if you're trying to plan a vacation trip and you don't book the tickets, but you already, I don't know, you tell your boss or you ask your boss, can I have some time off, or can I get some days off for that? And Barack again, wish me luck, guys. I applied for a job. Well, good luck. Let's see. I might be serious of my choices. I might be serious of my choices. I don't know what that's referring to. I might be getting a job. I bet you'll get it. I bet you'll get it. Let's see. After discussing it, we reached. Glad to hear it. So I bet the meeting tomorrow will be good. Yeah, there you go. Good usage of it. I bet. The conclusion that we should wait a bit longer. Yeah, meeting. Sorry. No, that's fine. Yeah, so I bet the meeting, tomorrow will be good. All right, it looks like people got it though, but hopefully you guys see this is great vocabulary that you can use even when you're talking with yourself, because often natives will be doing that and we'll think about things and these words will just come into our minds. And if you train yourself in the same way by getting exposed to lots of examples of the vocabulary, if you watch what natives are saying in particular situations, again, this is what we do in Fluent for Life, showing you lots of examples of how natives are responding to things or responding to each other or what they say when they feel a certain thing. But if you get enough examples, then the doubt will disappear because you'll know how to express yourself the same way a native does. All right. But if you have any questions, you can always email us at info@englishanyone.com. If you have enjoyed this video, do click the like button and share the video with anyone else who would like to eliminate their own doubt and become a more confident speaker. And you can click on the links in the description below this video if you'd like to learn more about Fluent for Life and Frederick. All right, any final questions here? Let's see. All right, well, it looks like getting some love from E. McGraw about the potential job opportunity, so hopefully that works out well for you. And Keiko says, thank you very much. Well, have a fantastic day, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.